Hi folks, welcome back. I hope you had a great Easter and had loads of Easter eggs. And maybe you're a bit sick of chocolate by now. Not possible for me. Never be sick of chocolate. Okay, so we're carrying on with revision. Before we've been doing some of the basic things, multiplying, dividing, percentages, fractions, and now I need to move on to some like measurement type work. So specifically we're looking again at area, perimeter, volume. Apologies if this video is a little bit long. I am condensing up to 2 months worth of work into one video, so it may go over the the YouTube advert limit, so sorry about that if you get an advert part way through. So these are the objectives. I do them in this order, so if you need to skip on, you can kind of, approximate where you need to go. Area and perimeter of those shapes, and then the volume as well. So I'm going to go over the basic skills, and then in this next video, I'm going to use those skills in exam type questions. So basic skills for this one. So let's start with perimeter of a rectangle or square. So for perimeter, I'm just going to make sure my pen's on. Knew that was going to happen. My pen wasn't on at all. Right, there we go. So perimeter, we are just adding the distance all the way around the shape. So let's take the blue rectangle. The first one I'm going to add is 6 meters. And then we're going to add the 2 meters on. And then because this is a symmetrical shape, the bottom edge is 6. And the edge on the left-hand side is 2. So if you add them all together, you get 16. So the distance all the way around this shape, if you are walking that all the way around, you will have walked 16 meters. The perimeter of the orange square, each edge is 3.5 meters. So we will just add them all together. And that comes to 14 meters all the way around. So that's your perimeter, you're just adding. Let's get rid of all that because now we need to go over the area. I'm hoping a lot of you remember it though, because we are just in revision mode now. We've done all this before. So the area is length times width. So you need 2 numbers. Now on our first example, we've got 6 and 2. So we're just going to multiply them together. Let's talk very quickly about a question I get all the time, which is the length and which is the width. Well, in this case, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether you do 6 times 2 or 2 times 6. You're going to get exactly the same answer. Technically, the length is the longest side. So the remaining side, which is the width, would be the 2, but it doesn't matter in this case. So 6 times 2 equals 12 meters squared. So the area, that's the space inside the shape, should have said that from the start. The space inside that shape is 12 meters squared. Don't forget the 2, that means it's squared, or that you've times 2 numbers together. And over to the orange square. When you have a square, each edge is 3.5, so a question might not even have that second one on. It will think that you know that a square has the same edge all the way around. So you have to think, yeah, okay, so that's interesting. What happened there? Let's just get rid of that. So you have to say, okay, that edge is 3.5, so we've got to do 3.5 times, oh look, it happened again, how strange, 3.5 times 3.5, so that actually gives us 12.25, and this is in meters squared. If you didn't have a calculator, we'd have to go back to that method that we did in week 26 where you count how many decimal places there are. Well, there are 2, there's one there and there's one there, and then you have to sort of ignore it and do 35 times 35 and do a grid. And then once you get all the answers and total it up, it will actually come to 1,225, and then you make it 2 decimal point places. So you might have to do it that way if you don't have a calculator. Right, let's move on. area of a triangle. Oh, what's happening? Do you know, I'm not doing very well today, am I? Let's go back. Area of a triangle. Now, in the syllabus, in your curriculum that you are studying, all it says about area is the area of common shapes. It doesn't actually say which one. So I think it's unlikely you'll have to work out the area of a triangle. I do think this is more of a level 2 thing, but just in case, I think a triangle is quite common. So we're going to look at the area of a triangle. Notice the formula on the right hand side. Area of a triangle. So we are looking at the space inside the triangle. Notice the different terminology. So before it was length times width, and now we have base times height. But it means the same thing, really. So your base is, I always think of the base as that bottom edge. The bottom edge, and it's straight. It's horizontal. It's flat. So that's your base. And then your height is the highest point in the triangle. It doesn't mean necessarily the slopes. Doesn't mean the slopes. It is the highest point of a triangle. So in that case, it is this distance here. So that's your height. Let's give some numbers. Let's put some numbers down on here. So I'm going to make this 10 centimeters. I'm going to make the inside 12 centimeters. So go back to our formula. Base times height. Well, we've got 10 times 12. That equals 120, and then we divide it by 2. So divided by 2, that gives us 60 centimeters squared. So you start off the same as you would an area of a square rectangle, and then you just half it. Let's look at the next one. I'm going to move for a cheeky purple. There we go. The base, that's always the bit along the bottom, horizontal, that's your base, and your height. Now in this case, I think this one's a little bit easier. Don't be fooled, it's not the slope, so don't do that one. It is the height here. Happens to be the edge of a triangle, which is quite nice, but that is the tallest point inside. Let's give it some numbers. Let's say that this is 10 meters and this is 5 meters. So base times height, 10 times 5, that equals 50. Then according to the formula, we divide it by 2, which gives us 25 meters squared. That's a big triangle. Excuse me. Got a bit of a frog in my throat. I just had to cough then, just had to mute the microphone. Right, there's your area of a triangle. I didn't go over the perimeter of a triangle, but you're just adding the distance all the way around the shape. So I think you've got that by now. Right, composite shapes, perimeter and area. A composite shape is a shape that's made up of 2 or more other shapes. So this L shape is actually made up of 2 rectangles. So I could draw a line there. Now you can see there are 2 rectangles. I could also draw the line in a different place. I could draw it here. Makes no difference. So that's just to show you that it is a composite shape made up of 2 rectangles. We're going to work out the perimeter. Now, as you know, this is the distance all the way around the edge. So I'm going to start with 2 centimeters, and I'm going to go anti-clockwise. I'm going to add 8, and then I'm going to add 6, and then add a 3, and then lo and behold, what on earth do I do here? We've got a missing edge. Very typical at level 1. Don't guess it, don't eyeball it, it's not symmetrical, it's not to scale. You've got to use the numbers that are given to you. So this missing edge, this is horizontal, so I'm going to highlight it there. So now I need to look at the other horizontal lines in this L shape. So the widest one is this 6 centimeter, and the other horizontal shape is this. Now to get my unknown one, I need to take the longer one and take away that shorter one. So 6 take away 2 equals 4. So this one is actually 4 centimeters. Fantastic. Let's add it on. And oh no, I've got another missing edge. Let's take another color, go back to my favorite red. So now I need this edge here. Well, I'm now going to highlight the other edges that look the same because they're vertical, they match. So to find my missing edge, I'm going to take the 8 centimeters. Oh, that thing's happened again. I don't know why. Never mind. And I'm going to take away the 3 centimetres. So 8 take away 3 is 5. So my missing edge here is 5 centimetres. Let's add that on. Oh, what are you doing to me? What are you doing to me? Here we go. Right, I'm going to give it one more time before I chuck this thing out the window. You live to see another day, computer. So now I've got all my distances all the way around the edge. I just add them all together. So 2 plus 8 is 10, that's 6, 16, and 3 is 19, 23, 28. So the distance around this edge is 28 centimetres. Don't put a squared on. Don't put a cubed on. It's just a perimeter, a distance. You're walking around. Well, you wouldn't be walking around that one with only 28 centimetres, would you? You'd be taking a very tiny footsteps. Let's now look at the area. Let's get rid of all my beautiful colouring ins there. But I'm going to keep in those missing edges because in order to do the area, I would have needed to have found those missing edges. Okay, back to the pen. Definitely the pen's on. Yes. Right, let's look at the area. As you know, area, length times width. You can't take the biggest length here, which would be 8, and times it by the largest width, which would be 6. That will not give you the final answer. You've got to split this beast into 2. There we go. We're going to find the area of both of those shapes, add them together. There you go. We've got our area. So this first shape here, I'm going to highlight in this lovely red, my favourite. And I've got a length and a width 2 times 8. So this is the area of shape 1. 2 times 8 equals 16. It's an area, it's a centimetre, so it's a squared. Shape number 2, let's go back to my purple, third favourite, because I like blue as well. So area of shape 2 is only concerned with these edges. So you're going to forget this 6 because that goes all the way across. So we've got a 4 and a 3. So 4 times 3 equals 12. Oh, I've just realised that something weird is going to happen here. Never mind. And then we add them together. So 6 plus 2 is 8. 101 is 2. The area is 28 centimetres squared. That's weird because the perimeter was 28 centimetres. 99 times out of 100, that never happens. So don't think that if you work out the perimeter, you've got the area. Don't. This is just a weird coincidence. Okay? And the last bit of your revision, your volume of a cube or a cuboid, your formula, length times width times depth. So we are multiplying 3 sides together. I'm actually going to do the lovely looking cuboid on the right hand side. So your cuboid is like a 3D version of a rectangle. We need 3 sides. Well, you're given these 3 sides, so you literally just multiply them together. We've got a length here. I use this as the width, and then the depth is there. But honestly, it wouldn't matter which one's which because you just multiply them all together. So 5 times 5 times 20 times 10. 5 times 20 is 100 times 10 is 1,000. Now it's centimetres, and now we're talking about cubed. The volume is how much the shape can hold inside the 3D shape. So always imagine a box. How much can you fill the box with? So we need little 3 there to indicate that it's volume and that we have multiplied 3 sides together. Last but not least, volume of the cube. So on a cube, it says that each edge is 5 centimetres. So, I mean, I don't even need to highlight it, but I will do anyway. I'm going to use one of those edges, one of those edges, and one of those edges. Just notice that they're all going in different directions. I haven't highlighted ones that match or are the same. Each one is 5. 5 times 5 times 5. Well, 5 times 5 is 25. Times another 5 is 125. This is centimetres, and it's cubed. And there we go. So just to summarise then, on the left is what we did. On the right is a summary. So perimeter, you're just adding all the way around. Area of a square or rectangle, length times width. Area of a triangle, we call that base times height divided by 2. The area of a composite shape, so for example, it could be an L shape or could be like a T shape. I mean, it could even be like a house shape, you know. The first step is to split the shape. To find area of each shape. So I could actually demonstrate on that house one because we've got a triangle there and we've got a rectangle there. And number 3, you add them together and that gives you the total area. Last but not least, your volume of a cube, length times width times depth, multiply 3 sides. And there you've got it, Eurovision. And now that sounded like Eurovision then, which I am a big fan of, but that meant Eurovision. And now you need to go on to what the 3 example type questions that use these skills. Thank you.